There is another great ship which we can now add to our fleet, the Argo SRV, Light Salvage and Support Vehicle. Actually, it's more of a towing ship. A ship you might want to use for vehicle repossession. There are no ships we can compare the Argo SRV to, as this ship is just that special. It does not have any weapons, all of its components are size 2s, and all of the components are quite moderate with industrial and civilian grade. The SRV only has 28,000 health. It can carry 12 units of cargo, and it actually turns really well. Although its maximum speeds are not that fast, so most other ships can catch up with this, it might outrun some of the bigger ones. It is noteworthy that this ship has one of the longest lasting boosts, and that is really nice to see, as you need to pull some heavy loads behind you. The insides of the ship are kept very simple. We have our usual weapon lockers, we have our armor storage, and the standard complimentary toilet. We also get a beautiful table with a rear window to check on what we are carrying, and a pretty decent single person bed. In the entrance, the elevator or the airlock area, we actually get really easy access to all the ship's components. It also appears that in the cockpit we do have a holster or a weapon rack for a single secondary weapon, and the pilot's seat. When you are flying, you may notice that the UI is unpleasant orange. Usually I would see this as a problem, but since this ship has no use in combat, I consider this quite acceptable. As for towing, you need to position yourself in a way that your rear is facing the ship you wish to tow. Then you need to switch from your panel to the turret, because the tractor beam in the rear is considered a turret. You can't also be too far, as the tractor beam might not reach it. Now right now we are at the optimal distance. We can also see it by the highlighted green aura. Pulling smaller vehicles is simpler, as the bigger ones might have an effect on your ship as well. Because when the object behind your ship is moving one way, it might have an effect on you moving the other way. Plus, towing can be criminal activity, so keep in mind what and where and which things you wish to tow. The tractor beam will try and hold it, but even it can lose connections. When you are towing another ship, you will also get two new displays, both of them serving their purpose. The left one shall show you the position of where it is behind you. Is it a bit to the left, a bit to the right, or just in the center? Usually going straight can pull it in the center, as it will stabilize whatever you are pulling. The view on the right shall show you pretty much the distance at which the ship is. And if this should, blink yellow instead of green, it means it is getting a bit further, and you might want to, reduce your speed, not directly stop, as that can be very painful. And if the marker should also go out of their circles, this means you pretty much lost the connection, or are having a hard time keeping the connection. While pulling other ships behind him, the ship can't really go that fast. And the bigger ship you are pulling, the more likely it is you will lose the connection between your ship and the ship you are pulling. There's also certain size limitations or weight limitations which won't allow you to enter quantum drive with having a huge ship behind you. Although you might be able to pull them around when you're flying out in space or near planet side. Basically, it is a huge tractor beam attached to the rear end of the SRV. It is pretty capable of pulling a hammerhead behind you. Although you can't really use quantum drive with it, it was still pretty fun to see how this big chunk of metal is pulled around by this moderately medium-sized ship. I also tried to, pull a mineable mineral rock to see if I could actually use it as a weapon, but unfortunately it did mention the rock weighs too much, which doesn't really seem to be logical, as Hammerhead is pretty gigantic compared to this little piece of metal. A little surprising bit of information as well, we can actually recover ships that have suffered soft death, and we can repair them up at some of the stations when we drop them off and enter them and have them repaired. So in the long run, this can actually be a pretty decent addition if they should ever make up their mind how the reclaiming your vehicle and the insurance and everything actually works. Although I wouldn't really suggest betting on that repair pad, as there are plenty of bugs which can occur and it's not really that polished at the moment. But still, an incredible ship with a very unique role to fill, and perhaps when we get repairing, refueling, and everything working smoothly, there could be a crew to just help you with these simple aspects of restoring and recovering your vehicles. Another marvelous addition, and considering how many ship releases there have actually been this year, it is very noteworthy that there has never been this much content released before. I hope you got to try it at least during the expo, it is pretty fun, although I think we could definitely use some repossession missions or other interesting types of missions that could involve this vehicle. But I've been going on for long enough. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.